Oh man, we did it. We got a new goal, and you know what that means? Another giveaway. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Every one of those people, you guys mean something to me. I'm just so glad to be here. It's been so much fun to be here. So I owe you a giveaway. That's the reason. You know, on this channel, we celebrate when we reach a goal. We don't say, hey, this is going to be where we're going. When we reach a goal, we give you stuff. This isn't to get me there. This is to celebrate where we are. So I have for you an entire collection of one of each Crucible of War rare. I just put this into my collection tracker that I do for the EV videos. $68. Ugh, that's expensive to get one of each card that's a rare. So I think I got one of each of them. I may have missed a couple if I didn't have them, but it's pretty close to one of each of them. So that's going to be what's available as a giveaway to celebrate reaching 300 subs. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just glad that you're enjoying the content. If you're not enjoying the content, get out of here. You know, it's fine. No big deal. So that's what the giveaway is. Let's do this. Let's call it another 3-day. Okay, so you got 3 days to leave a comment down below, and comment below with your favorite. Let's go with your favorite Crucible of War card. Period. Anything, best artwork. Let's go your favorite artwork in Crucible of War, and that'll enter you into win there. And I'll do it in 3 days, so whatever 3 days is from here. But it's been so cool to hear stories of you guys. I've got stories of stepdads and stepkids playing the game together. That's been really cool to email with some of you guys. I owe a shout out to Tom Boss, who's never gotten a shout out before. So here you go, Tom. Here's your first shout out ever on a video on YouTube. And I've probably sent out like 15 to 20 boxes of comments. So it's super cool to see new people entering the game. And I'm just glad that you're here and that you're doing that. So thank you so much for being a part of this. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you to the patrons that kind of allow me to give away stuff and use their money to help out the channel and to help out you and to do whatever. So thank you so much to the patrons for that. It's been so much fun to be a part of this. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk today about a rotating format game versus a non-rotating format game, and what I think the implications are financially, and how it's a little bit different than Magic the Gathering. If those of you who come from Magic the Gathering, thinking through investing and thinking through collecting and what you might think to do differently. So, and I come from a Magic background, so this is just where my attitude is. But so let's recap. So in Magic the Gathering standard, you have like a 5 to 6 set block, or 5 to 6 sets at a time. The logistics don't really matter, but that are in the standard legal cards. And then after they rotate out, so you know, 3 or 4 sets rotate out and the new sets come in, and it completely changes up the meta of the game. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's a good, it's great for them, right? Because they're able to produce more cards, different cards that then you in turn buy cards. But also as a player, it's great because you end up having a different meta as a different standard kind of comes along. So it kind of works out. The problem is that once a set rotates, most of the cards kind of tank in value, right? Like you could have a $30 mythic card that once it leaves standard drops to like $8. So you buy a play set for 120 bucks, and then your play set's worth like, you know, 30 bucks, and it just kind of feels bad. But Magic also has these game modes, these game variants called Vintage and Modern, and all the cards that are currently printed are kind of put into those sets as well. So they do have, those are called the Eternal formats. But it's a little bit different, you know, maybe, you know, until this year, right? But usually, historically, like 1 or 2 cards from each set made it into Modern or Vintage. This past year, 2020, kind of shifted that all around, and you know, cards were just all over the place. But that's different from Flesh and Blood, which is promoting itself as a non-rotating. Sorry, let me back up. That in Standard, that's kind of your main. More people play Standard, at least where I am, and this is probably different from location to location than most other formats. It's like the entry-level format, and then as you build a collection, a lot of people then move on to Modern, and then to, you know, I don't know anybody that plays Legacy, but so that's kind of where, you know, the standard game of Magic is, whereas realistically it's Commander right now because, you know, there's no tournaments. But I'm kind of talking about the game as a whole. So let's move on to Flesh and Blood. Now, this is what it means for non-rotating, for Flesh and Blood, right? It's going to be interesting because all the cards that we get are hypothetically, or what we're being told, are forever going to be legal to play with. And then that's important. And here's what, don't miss this is why I want to talk about this, is that cards that are worth something right now might not necessarily be worth something in 10 years based on the current meta, or even in 2 years, based on what, what sets they add and what kind of changes up. But more importantly, cards that aren't necessarily worth anything right now will potentially be worth money in the future as new cards come into play that kind of make them better. So, what we have is called, I'm not sure if you knew this, living legends in Flesh and Blood, that if a hero wins in constructed format, if a hero wins 10 or up to, once they hit 10, kind of the pro top tier, the nationals, once a hero has won that many, that hero is retired into living legend status, and they can't be played. So like Dorinthia, right? Like if she wins, she's won 1, I think. If she wins 10 nationals or wherever those lists are, then she gets, not banned, but she can't be played. So yeah, she is banned. So you can't use Dorinthia Ironsong anymore. And that's going to completely shift the meta. Now, they have said, and what they've said is that they will have other warriors then that will come in place, and so you'll still be able to use the cards, but it will shift the meta. So, cards that, kind of probably that are safe are your generics, right? Like Enlightened Strike is good in almost every deck, so those cards are going to be safe. But some of these other cards that are tied to a specific class that might work really well for Dorinthia, when she reaches that legend status, that living legend status, you might see those cards shift in price. And for the collectors in the world, that might not happen for like the first edition cards, because there's a collector's value that's not necessarily driven by the player. But I do think it's important to keep that in mind, that the meta can shift pretty rapidly as one or two of those heroes hit that living legend status. But I think it's super cool, right? Like, for me, what I think of is like, that's why I think set collecting is so important in this game. Not to just focus on the cards that you think are necessarily going to be good, like not to spec, but more of like a shotgun approach of being like, hey, I'm going to collect one of, a playset of every card. That way, when the meta does shift, I already own those cards. Maybe I bought them for $5 each now, and the meta shifts, and in 2 years, they're, $40 cards. I already own them, so it doesn't really cost me anything. I can then play the game with those cards. So I think it does really play well for people who are collecting a set. And it's pretty cool for that, because I think this game is perfect for set collecting. I've said that a couple of times this week, but I've just been thinking a lot about it in my head. So anyway, I think it's really important to understand the difference between a rotating format and a non-rotating format. Like in Magic the Gathering, the modern staples, not in the last year, but historically really maintain their value. And even when they get reprinted, they dip for a little bit, but then they come back because the playability of those cards is so high. So I think there will be some like eternal staples of this that will maintain the value. And I think it's really good for those who are collecting the game, that they have that wide range. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I just wanted to talk real quick about the living legend status thing and the rotating and non-rotating format. Let me know what you think too. How you think that's going to affect. I'm not super familiar with other card games that use those formats. So if you have some wisdom to garnish there, that'd be cool too. But pretty cool. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Don't forget, we're giving away a bunch of rares from Crucible of War. This is like $70, so that's pretty cool for you. And I'll pay shipping and all that stuff. And then don't forget tonight, I meant to say this at the beginning, don't forget tonight we are doing a live stream at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, where we'll be opening up a case of Crucible of War with Mitch from Midtown Merchant and Andrew from Midtown Merchant. And it'll be pretty cool. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So hope you're being kind to the people around you. Hope you're enjoying life. Hope you're enjoying the game. Just remember, it's just cards. Like, there's more important stuff, right? Like your family and the people that love you.